What's up guys, Woody here back with another new to Gwent video, and today we're going through a kind of request video I suppose for a young player who's just got into the game. I believe they're 9 years old actually. They didn't actually directly request this video, it was requested by the parent, and yeah, the young lad is called Nate. He's just unlocked Woodland Spirit, so the video is going to be based around how do you take the starter monster deck, which is trash, and I'll get into that in a minute, add Woodland Spirit to it and make it not competitive but more competitive. And that's exactly what this video is about. So if you're new to Gwent, if you've just unlocked monsters, if you've just maybe unlocked Woodland Spirit and you're thinking, I like the idea of monsters, how do I get into playing monsters? The idea of this deck is it is not going to be overly powerful in terms of the finished product, but it is going to be very cheap to make. Most of the cards you already have, and it's going to synergize a damn sight better than the bloody trash starter deck synergizes. Because I'm going to be honest, let's kick off with how bad this thing is. So when I looked at the screenshots to find out, I'll be honest, I had to go find the deck list out to find out what the starter deck was again. I couldn't believe this deck. I was looking at it now, I'm just like, what? Okay, granted, some of the cards that are in here have been heavily nerfed. So when the game first got released in Homecoming 1.0, these cards were a lot better. But the top 4 cards, for example, your big cards, I mean, how stingy is this here? Like, if CDPR to give you just these 4 cards as your starter deck, super stingy. These 3 here are just useless now. I nearly swore there. Just completely useless. I'm going to try and keep swearing down to a minimum because this is for Nate, who is 9-year-old who likes playing or wants to play monsters and wants to play Woodland Spirit. So the biggest, like I said, the biggest issue with this deck, there's no synergy. Swallow has no, yeah, you can throw 6 cost on anything you want. It's such a bad card. Like, the only reason you'd ever use Swallow is to keep a card on the board. You'd never use it as an actual tempo play. 6 points on a play is, I mean, most 4 cost cards you're getting 6 value of either at once or over time. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to kick off with what we're getting rid of, and we're going to add cards in. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of go through, get rid of stuff, quickly explain why I'm getting rid of it, and then I've got a list here. I've already built the deck, but I wanted to build it in front of you guys again. And like I said, this deck isn't going to be super powerful, but I'll go through why I've put these cards in here and what we're going to synergize with, or how it's going to synergize. And then we're going to play one game in training mode, purely because it's I'm currently sat rank 4. If I took this deck onto online, we wouldn't have a hope in hell of getting anywhere. So first things, let's get rid of the cards. Peasant Melita. No, the only reason you have this in the deck is if you're playing a shoot deck, or if you just need to put 4 costs in your deck. Wolfpack, no synergy whatsoever. So that is going. Arrakis Nest, you only run that in a Arrakis Queen deck. We're not playing Arrakis Queen. Also, the starter lead you get is Eredin. Again, absolutely trash card unless you're playing Arrakis Queen. We're then getting rid of 2 bears because Elder Bear. Why the hell do you want an Elder Bear? Again, it's 6 for 5. Like, it's 5 value for 6. Yes, it would link with ghouls and where the ghouls have gone. Ghouls here. It's not great value. There are a lot better cards out there, so we're getting rid of both the bears. After that, we are getting rid of the swallows. And we are then getting rid of... No, we're keeping the werewolves. We are keeping the werewolves. We're getting Bone Talisman. So it sounds, on paper, this card sounds amazing. Boost all units by 1, allied units by 1. Yeah, hell yeah. You have to have 7 cards on your side to get any value off like, positive value off this card. Something like an Octvist, which costs 3 more P, as in 3 more provisions, comes out for 5 body, only has to damage 5 units to get a lot more value. So, Bone Talisman, you're gone. Sorry, dude. And that is all we are getting rid of. We're keeping werewolves, keeping ghouls. Are we keeping the Thunders? I think we're keeping the Thunders for now, purely because it's removal, and I'll get into that in a minute. Oh no, we are getting rid of Prize Winning Cow. And the Thunder. Oh no, we're getting rid of the Thunders. And we're getting rid of... Wow, we're getting rid of the Witches. This is, I think I'm going to get rid of the Thunders as well, but this is only cards we are keeping out of the whole of the Monster starter deck. Now, don't panic. I said this deck's going to be cheap. It is going to be cheap. There is only one. So what I'll do is I'll build the cards that I are like bare minimum, and I've got a few kind of worthy mentions. If you can afford them in terms of you have enough scrap, or you have them in your collection through kegs, then put them in. If you don't, do not stress, but they're cards you want to be building into in the future. So let's go through what we're going to add. We'll start at the bottom. Neckers. Now, the deck we're building here is mostly going to build, not mostly, it's going to build around an ability called Thrive. Now, if you don't know what Thrive is boost a unit by 1 whenever you play an ally with a higher power. So Neckers come out. Neckers are so fluctuant. They fluctuate in terms of how good they are. If a Necker stays on the board, so when you play one Necker, it spawns another one. So you get 2 Neckers out. It's 4 provisions for 2 cost on base value. Bad. However, Neckers could be the most valuable card in your deck if they don't get removed. So you play these for 1. When you start playing a 2 cost, all of a sudden Neckers boost to 2. You then play a 4 cost, all of a sudden Neckers boost to 3. And there's 2 of them on the board. You play a 5 cost, all of a sudden Neckers boost to 4. You play a 6 cost, all of a sudden Neckers boost to 5. That's 10 value you have got off this one 4 cost card. The reason we're not running 2 of them is because they get removed very easy. Dogbana Archers, a card that's in Scoretel, can ping 2 of them at once. Removed. Neckers very rarely stay on the board. They get locked. They don't always get value. So we're putting 1 Necker in, and we're putting 1 Ancient Foglet in. So if you know what this card is, it's a 1 cost card. But when it dies, it's killed. They damage it. You damage it. It comes back from the grave, but it comes out at 5 cost. So you get the 5 cost off of it. So we're putting 1 Ancient Foglet, 1 Necker in there. Okay. We're then going into 2 Necker Warriors. These are exactly the same as Neckers, if I can find them now. The difference here is these Necker Warriors. I cannot find them for the life of me now. There you are. These Necker Warriors are 4 cost for 4 and they thrive. So you'd have to play a 5 cost to get them up to 5, a 6 to get them up to 6, a 7 to get them up to 7. And we've got some bigger units in this deck to get the thrive going and to also feed into our Ghouls and our Osrel that I'll talk about in a minute. And then we're going on to Drowner. So Drowner is another card that runs off Thrive, okay? We're running 1 Drowner and we're running 1 Wyvern. Here we go. So the Drowner, if you don't know, here we are. A Drowner has Thrive, but when you deploy it, you can move in any unit to the opposite row or to the other row and damage it by 2. So if they play a unit, let's say for example, Nilfgaard play Albert Pikeman. That's one that pings for 1 every time. You can play this. You can move it to the other row. So it's got a melee ability attached to it. That card is useless now, and you've damaged it for 2. Meaning you only need to get 1 pop off the Thrive to get value back. Because it's 5 provisions. It comes out for 2. It does 2 damage. You get 1 pop on the Thrive. That's your 5 value there. So Drowner's great. The reason we're not running 2 Drowner is a little bit of mix up here. So Wyvern, it just damages the unit by 2. It doesn't move it to a row, but it's a 3 cost unit. 2s can get cleared really easy. 3s can get cleared very easy, but it just gives us a bit more versatility, I suppose, in terms of some cards, some decks we're playing against will clear a card for 2 and they get a buff in their hand. Whereas if we have this, they can't clear it for 2 because it's a 3 cost card. Next, we're going on to Wild Hunt Riders. Now, these got nerfed slightly recently. Wild Hunt Riders are a deployability, but you must have dominance. Now, dominance means you must have the highest unit on the board. Now, these guys don't count for dominant. No, they don't count for dominance. So if you open up first turn, if you play this, it doesn't register that this card is the highest card on the unit to then bring the other one out. If you have another unit on the board that say 5 power, your opponent has a 3 power. If you play this, it will then bring the other one from your deck out. So you're getting 6 points, and you're getting what's called finning. And finning is when you're getting cards out your deck, so you've got more of a chance to draw into better cards. So if I'm making this very simple, this is for Nate, who's 9 years old, but also for other players who are hopefully new to Gwent. Hence why this series is called New to Gwent. We're then going to throw in a Cyclops. And the Cyclops is... Where's Cyclops gone? Here he is. Cyclops is purely in here for removal. Okay. Cyclops can be... So You destroy an adjacent allied unit and you throw it at the enemy. Let's say, for example, you popped your Neckers out, they didn't get removed, one of your Neckers is sat at a 5. You can play a Cyclops next to the Necker, destroy the 5 value Necker, but then you can throw that 5 value at an enemy to damage them. This is great for removing engines. This is great for kind of getting rid of... If you're playing a mirror match, you might want to just throw a Necker, or you might want to throw an Ancient Foglet at 1 cost at another Necker. You're going to get that 5 pop back to you from the Ancient Foglet, and you're going to remove one of their Neckers, which could ramp up for a lot of value through the Thrive ability. Just in there, use them when you feel right. You might have a unit that's Thrive on the board, but they might play an Engine, meaning a card that gets a lot of value the longer it's on the board. You might have to just throw one of your Necker Warriors at that Engine, okay? Just get rid of it. We then are going to move on to Nifril. Now, Nifril is a card that is getting... Again, it requires dominance. So Nifril here is deploy ability. So when you play it, it does the ability destroy an enemy artifact. No matter what happens, it will destroy an enemy artifact, dominance or no dominance. This is big at the moment because even like if it's just stuck in your hand, for example, you still got a 5 unit on the board, which could be value on our Osriel at the end. But I'll talk about our big finisher at the end. But if you do have the dominance, it then damages adjacent units by 2. The reason this card's quite important at the moment is there is a lot of artifact going around. There's a card called Summoning Circle, and a lot of monster decks are playing a card called Frightener. Both of those are big artifact cards. They get a lot of value off them. So getting rid of that is massive. If you're playing against Scoia'tael, a tip for beginner players, traps count as artifacts. So if there's a trap on the board, play an artifact removal, clear that trap, and it won't get the proc or the damage or the buff that it would get if it stayed on the board. Now we go to Alpha Werewolf. Alpha Werewolf is exactly the same as Necker Warrior. 4 power, Thrive, but the difference here is it's immune. So you pop this thing out round 3 ideally. Any card you play that's higher than its value, so if it goes to a 5, you must play a 6. It will go up and up and up on. Meaning, as you start playing some of your bigger cards, all of a sudden they're getting 1 extra value. So if you used to play Alpha Werewolf and then play the Nifril next to clear an artifact, you'd get an extra value off Nifril. And Nifril would technically come out at 6 value plus an artifact removal because you'd have Thrive on the board. If you've got your Necker, you've got a Necker Warrior, and you've got Alpha Werewolf on the board, oh my god, all of a sudden these things are starting to fly up, okay? The reason we're keeping Werewolf in the deck is because it could be a big finisher, but I'll get onto that at the end. Hopefully I'm not making this too confusing. Especially Nate, if you're watching, because this video kind of is dedicated to you, bud. And then we're going to Parasite. Parasite is a simple card. It's 6 for 6. You can either choose to damage a unit by an enemy by 6, or you can boost an ally by 6. It's nice and versatile. It's removal on an engine. There aren't many cards that well, there's almost no engines that are over 6 value, so they play a big card that you're worried about. Even if it's a 4 value card, don't worry about using this card on it. Yes, you're not getting the extra 2 value on the damage, but you're probably saving that on value over time in terms of if it's getting more value the longer it stays on the board, just get rid of it. Use a Parasite to get rid of it, or use your Cyclops to get rid of it. We're then putting in 2 Griffins, okay? Now, Griffins are funny old cards. Griffins are in here for one specific reason. So a Griffin, basically, if you don't know what a Griffin is a card where you destroy an allied unit on this row. If there are no units, you must destroy itself. So whatever you do, do not play Griffin turn 1 because it will just kill itself. It's a waste. The main combo you want here is to get 1 Griffin in hand. The same time you have an Ancient Foglet. You play the Ancient Foglet, which is a 1 cost. You then play the Griffin next to it, or on the board, and you kill the Ancient Foglet, meaning that Griffin comes out for 8 power, and then the Ancient Foglet comes back for 5 power, and all of a sudden you've got a 13-point play. This is also 8-point bronze. And we go across to our ghouls. These here, you play these on the melee row, so the front row, and you consume a bronze unit in your graveyard, meaning this is 1 already. If you consume the Griffin, that's 9 power. Think about all your Thrive units on the board, then getting the 9 power. That's huge. You're going to get a big play on your ghoul. If you have 2 ghouls in hand, also, and you want to get Griffins in the drop area, don't be afraid to eat one of your Neckers. If one of your Neckers at a 2 cost, play a Griffin, destroy that Necker. Chances are your Necker's going to get removed anyway, but it does mean there's a big 8-cost unit on the board, and then if you end up drawing into 2 ghouls, they're big units for you to consume. 2 ghouls with these is 18 points on the board, kind of on maths, if you have 2 Griffins in a drop. Remember that, that's huge. Then we're going to another big card, which is up here. Ice Giant. So the exact same reason, the only reason we're playing Ice Giant is 1, it's a 7-cost card. Okay, it has no ability. It's a 7-cost card that comes down. A lot of your Thrives are going to be popping off of this because let's say your Thrives are up to 5 costs now. They're not going to get much more value. You drop an Ice Giant, all of a sudden all of them pop because he's higher than a 5. Also, you want to get these guys out round 1 because if you draw into your ghouls round 3, you've got a 7 cost in the drop area that you can eat, making your ghouls worth 8 value. Again, the only reason they're in the deck is to get pops on Thrives and to be a ghoul target for consuming. Okay, then we have some cards that will potentially cost you some scrap, but they are extremely cheap for what they do. We have what are called the Crones, okay? So the Crones are 3 cards, a little bit like the Witches you got in the starter deck, but they're 3 cards. You have Brewess, Weaveress, and Whisperess that all work together. So if we look at Brewess, Brewess consumes 1 allied unit, but then increase the number of targets by 1 whenever you play Whisperess or Weaveress. Now this is, you don't really want to be playing her. This deck isn't built around you consuming cards on the board. It's not a Death Wish deck, but she's in there to get the buff on these 2. So don't be afraid to play Brewess round 1 with no other cards on the board. Maybe if you can get the Ancient Foglet, the 1 cost out, and then eat that, she'll go to 7, and then the Ancient Foglet would come back to 5. That's only if you haven't got a Griffin in hand. But don't be afraid just to put her out as a 6-cost card, because what she will then do is then when she's played, it now means that Weaveress will boost an allied unit by 2. Increase this boost by 2 whenever you play Whisperess or Brewess. Because you played Brewess, say round 1, round 2, all of a sudden she's coming out for 5 value, and you're getting 4 boost on an allied unit. Or if you've played Whisperess, which we'll read down here, damage an allied unit by 2. Let's say you played Brewess round 1, you played Whisperess round 3. Now she's coming out for a 5 cost, and she's boosting an allied unit by 6 because you played the 2 other cards. Exactly the same, oh, not that, with Whisperess, but with damage. Okay, so playing this round 1's good because it means 4 damage is normally removing a big engine. So that's huge. These cards here they're pretty much ran in almost any monster deck. And there's a reason for that because they're just super, super powerful. We're actually 1 card over, so we're going to get rid of an Alzur Thunder. Okay, now that's the deck, guys. You'll notice straight away up here we are well under provisions count. And the only reason that I haven't maxed provision count is to do that, I have to make the deck expensive. The idea of this, most of these bronzes down here, so for example, you haven't got Wyron. Wyron costs, okay, this is an animated one, costs just 30 scrap to craft. Pretty much anyone, after you've played maybe 5-10 games in Gwent, you'll be able to craft all of the bronzes easy. The Parasite will cost you 200. Nifril will cost you 200. Alpha Werewolf will cost you 200. The Crones will cost you 200 each. Osril is a starting card, okay? I think you might actually get Nifril as a starting card. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. So, how do you make the deck more powerful if you have the right cards? 5 cards that... Here's 5 cards quickly now that you could quite easily add. First one is a simple one. Up here, Spear Tip, okay? Spear Tip, he does cost 800 to craft, okay? That's the animated version. You don't need to worry about that. He costs 800 to craft. He's simply a 12 cost big boy unit, okay? Because if you don't know what Osril does, Osril consumes a unit from either your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard. So let's say you're playing against Woodland Spirit. They've played the 12 cost. You could play Osril on the melee row and eat their 12 cost card. Okay, ideally, that's a very good play. You're stopping them doing that. This is huge. Okay, he's 12 points on the board. He's a big play. You get a lot of Thrive pops off him. He goes as a target for Osril. So you play him round 1 normally because you can play Osril round 3. Leader ability, I'll get onto leader ability in a minute because there's a couple of things we can link to for that. But these are additional cards if you have the funds or you drew them in kegs. Old Spear Tip, huge. Or you can even go to his little brother down here, or when he's asleep. He's 200 craft. He's a 9 cost. He's still a big card. Okay, then we have Geralt. Now this is completely your choice. Okay, Geralt is a card around here somewhere that when you play him, he destroys an enemy that has 8 power or more. This card can do what's called bricking a lot of times. What that means is when your opponents don't have any cards over 8 power, he comes out for free value. That is bad. I don't like this card personally. I like other iterations around it. But against the right matchup, no shadow of a doubt, this card can get huge. Even if they've got a 10 cost unit on the board, it's a 13 point swing. When you play this card, you clear their 10. He's coming out for a free body. It's massive. He is 800 to craft. I wouldn't put him as a necessity, but if you find that you're losing a lot of matches to big units, then he's one to think about, okay? We're then going to go to, I can never pronounce his name correctly, Protofleeder. Protofleeder, he does require dominance. Well, he doesn't actually. When you play him, he damages the unit by 3. Simple as that. He comes out for 7 value. He comes out for 4 body, you do 3 damage, simple as that. But if you have the highest unit on the board, and this deck, remember, has a lot of ways of getting big units on the board. You will drain that enemy, meaning you will come out for 4 body, you're damaged by 3, but then you'll boost yourself by that 3, so you'll actually go up to 7, making it 10 point play. You can clear a unit and get the buff off that enemy, okay? So it's a really big play, okay? It's 10 points, it's huge, and it can be removal. Then Cleaver. Cleaver is probably the most used normal card, as in it hasn't got a faction in the game at the moment. He's a free body. When you play him on deploy, remember his reach, so you can only play over 2 rows. Play him on your ranged row, you can only go up to the enemy's melee row. Damage a unit by 1 for every card in your hand. Meaning you have 7 cards in your hand, you play Cleaver, you now have 6 in your hand. He does 6 damage. Now you can play this even just to get 4 damage off him. Yes, you're not getting your full value on the card, but you are clearing an engine. This card is massive. He's only 200. He's one of the ones I would craft. I'd craft him personally over Geralt myself. He's a huge card at the moment. I'll be surprised if he's not nerfed somehow next patch. I don't think he needs nerfing, but that's a video for another time. And the last card, if you really want to craft it, is this guy down here. Okay, Doragari. Locks a unit. Simple as that. If you did most monster decks, similar to the monster deck we've just made, the Woodland Spirit, doesn't have a lot of removal. Doesn't have a lot of way of clearing opponents' cards off the board. What this does is it doesn't clear a card off the board, but it locks a card. If they've got a unit that's eating lots of other units and getting very big and powerful, or they've got one that's every turn it's ticking up and getting more value and more value and more value, just lock it. Okay, I'm a fan of putting locks in pretty much all decks. Again, it's only 200. It's completely your choice, obviously, okay? I like locks. I think locks can work very well. It's 5 value on the board. You normally get in your 3 value off a lock quite easily. But then again, locks can brick. They can play just a deploy deck and there's no orders. All of a sudden, you don't need a lock. It's completely your choice. But that's the deck, guys. That's everything about it, okay? Woodland Spirit, we'll quickly touch on him because he's what the deck's kind of not built around, but he's the leader of the deck. Boost an allied or boost a unit in your hand by 8, okay? Now, targets for Woodland Spirit. If you have the last play of the game, if they have no way of responding to you, no way of destroying your unit, a big play you can do is play Osriel. You can boost Woodland Spirit onto Osriel, so he instantly makes Osriel a 9-point card. You can then play Osriel to consume, say, Brewis or Griffin. Let's say you consume a Griffin. All of a sudden, Osriel's coming out for the 9. He's consuming the 8, so he's going up to 17 points. That's 17 points in one play. That's huge. If you don't have last say with Woodland Spirit, because all they could do is they could Geralt that, and that's it. It's gone. Lots and lots of people save Geralt as their last card. If you don't have last say and you want to be more cautious, the best card you can throw it on is Werewolf. And that's the only reason these guys stayed in the deck. It's immune. It's a 4 cost. You throw Woodland Spirit onto it. It goes to a 12 cost. You play it. They can't touch it unless they have a Scorch or anything else that removes the highest unit on the board. There's no way they can damage it because it is an immune card. Also, with it being 12, and if you're lucky enough to have a lot of thrives left on the board, all of them will pop because you're not going to have any thrives above 12. So that can get really, really crazy. That's your Woodland Spirit targets. Obviously, if you don't have Osriel last play in hand, you can play any of them. You could throw it onto Whisperous, play Whisperous coming out at 12 with Woodland Spirit, and then damage an enemy, hopefully by 6. That's another massive play. It's 18 points. But the main targets you want for Woodland Spirit are going to be Werewolves and are going to be Osriel if you have last say. But yeah, guys, that's the deck. I've spent, I feel like a good, I don't know what the time is on this video, 10-15 minutes fully explaining it. But as I said, it's a new to Gwent video. This is designed for beginners. So if you are new to Gwent, hopefully it's helped you kind of get an understanding of monsters. I am going to do a video soon based on each faction and how each faction kind of plays when you're deck building, what you want to be building with each faction, like a faction overview. But enough of that. Let's jump into a training match with this deck and see how it goes on. Training match is always against Arrakis Queen. The only reason we're playing training matches is because I just don't want to get trounced. I could just take ranked progression off and jump into classic. Just do that. Let's just do that. Let's jump in. Let's take ranked progression off. Jump into classic. I don't know how this works. It might throw us into a rank 4 match. I have no idea. I've never done this one. So here we go. We're playing Calvate, and let's have a look at the Wookiee here. So the idea is I can hopefully talk you through now what you want in your hand opening hand here. We don't really need the Thunder. I mean, we don't really need 2 Werewolves. It's a little bit over the top. Parasite's good for removal. We have a ping here. This can eat this, which is a really nice play. We're playing against Calvate, so we're probably not going to have artifacts. We have a Ghoul. We're going to potentially have Dominance because we've got Ice Giants, so we can keep these in hand. And we're going to get rid of that. Okay, we've got all 3 Crones in hand round 1, which is not bad at all. So we're going to pop down Ancient Foglet. And we're going to pass there. Now, almost any Nilfgaard deck is running a card called Leo. And Leo basically... Okay, so they've got big value on that there. Leo basically... so we're going to play this here. Sorry, so here you go. So you're going to play this. You're going to consume this. It's going to eat that, and it's going to bring out a 5 cost. Leo destroys any unit over 8 power. So if I was playing against something I didn't think had a big value, I could have put the tactical advantage on the Ancient Foglet, which made him 6 power. So when I ate it, it's gone into 12 power, and then they would have had come up with this. It would have been huge, but it would have just got removed. So these guys, they've both got big units on the board already. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put out a Thrive unit. Okay, we're going to throw Thrive down here, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, because we have quite a few big units on the board, what we're actually going to do now is we're going to pop this onto here. It's not the best play. Are we going to do that? Are we going to do that? Okay, no, we're going to play it here because it goes to 8. So because dominance, it levels out. So we have joint, so this will still come out now. So now when I play this, it will bring the other card out because we're joint dominance. We have the joint top card on the board. The reason I didn't play on Ancient Foglet is because if they play a card called Peter in their hand and they haven't got Leo, resetting this, like basically resetting the card gets rid of all the boost. It would have got 9 value on this. This will only get 2. Okay, so they're catching us on even, which isn't ideal. But we are starting to get some value now. So we're going to pop out. We've got some Thrive on the board now. So we're going to pop out probably our 5 cost first. And we're going to get a Thrive pop here. So that's the Thrive going now. And then we can play our 7 next. Otherwise, we play our 7 first. When we play our 5 cost Weaveress, she wouldn't have got the Thrive pop. Okay, what we got to think about now is when do we want to get out the round? Because We play this now. This is worth 8 points because it comes out and this pops here. We're up by 1. That's 9-point lead. They need 10 points to try and take the lead, which is a lot of points. So I'm going to play Ice Giant here, and it pops. We now have a 9-point lead. If they find 10 points, then in all honesty, we're in a little bit of trouble. But there we go. Oh, they got the roach out. We do have this though, which is a big removal. Is a big big play card. So we're now down by 2, which is a concern. That's simple as that. We could guarantee we win the round by using leader ability, which isn't the best thing to do round 1. We could play this, but they're only going to be in lead by... Yeah, we're probably going to play Whisperous, actually. We're going to play Whisperous, and we're going to damage this. And hope they haven't got another one of these in hand. Otherwise... We're saying that, we still... No, they take the lead. If they have another one of Slave Infantry in the hand, they take the lead. I'd assume they haven't, otherwise they would have played... There we go. Okay, so we've got the round. It means we're going to get last say. It means we have leader ability. It means if we can get Osriel, we can get a big play with Osriel, okay? So that's our round 1 done. We have Neckers, which are nice because Neckers might get locked against these guys. Again, this card is just in there for removal. Most of the times you want to be mulligan that card. And same as this card here. This card is in here for artifact removal. Nilfgaard don't often run artifact removal. There's our Osriel. So we've got last player of Osriel. We know we've got a 7 cost in there. So Osriel is coming out for 8 at the moment because the 1 plus the 7 plus the 8 here is going to be 16-point last play. Plus, if we have any... So because we are card down, we're going to pass here. Give them the round. And because we have last say, 16 points is pretty big. It's not to be shied at all. If we have some 5 on the board, who knows, it could go to a 20-point last play, which is tasty. Tasty it is. There's 1 5, there's 2 5, there's 3 5. Okay, what we're going to do now, big tip, is we're going to hide our cards. I'm going to click on our deck, because what haven't we got? It would be nice if we maybe had a Griffin, because they are very big value. Another Ghoul's not too bad. So we don't have a target for Ghoul. This is good removal. So what card do we want to get rid of? We're going to mulligan. Do you know, we're not going to mulligan any of them. No. We're going to keep these. We're going to keep just these. And we're going to... Okay. So we're going to play Neckers first. Okay. Chances are they're going to lock one of these. They might lock both of them. They might lock both of them. That is a possibility. If they don't, we can start building up what I like to call the Thrive train. It starts getting a little bit out of control. They haven't locked them, which is very big. So now we're going to play this one. And because it's a 2 cost, we're going to move this, damage it by 2, and we're going to get 2 pops here. So they've got to be careful. If they don't start removing... Apologies, my phone's just gone off. If they don't start removing... Let me put on silent. There we go. They don't start removing the Thrive. Thrive can get out of hand very quickly. These guys aren't removing the Thrive, which we're fine with. Because now we're going to pop down Necker Warrior. So all of a sudden now, any card we play that is higher than a 4 value gets 4 extra value. Which is massive. It's huge. We're now going to play... That's fine. We're now going to play this Thrive. Oh, my fault. End turn. So at the moment we're 17 behind, but we have a lot of Thrive on the board. We're not going to play anything that's going to spark up a Leo card. I mean, we have to be very careful how we go about things now. Okay? Chances are we're going to put leader ability on here so we get the most out of our Thrive units. Ghoul, remember, can only eat a bronze, is probably going to eat this to come out 5. meaning it doesn't get removed, but all of these pop. If Gaul ate this, it would go to 8, and that would give them value on their Leo. They'd play their Leo, and they'd clear it off the board straight away. What are they playing here? They're banishing a card from our drop area. What do they banish? Oh, they banished the Ice Troll, which is fine. What have they got in their drop area? They got a 5. It's not great, but it's okay. We are going to play this now, just here. And we're going to eat this to go to 5. And watch it go ping, 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 ping. We're 18 behind. But having this boosted to 12 with leader ability actually means it comes out at 17 because of all of this. Wow. That was unfortunate for them, wasn't it? Yes, it was. And now, and also that means actually they're going to get Leo value. So that's unfortunate for us as well. But we leave it because that's our Osril target now. So we need to play this in the right order. We're going to play this now. And get all the mob pops on 5s on the 5s. We're 12 behind. We're in a good position here actually because remember we have leader ability and we've got a lot of 5 that's running along. We do have a card called Peter that is probably going to reset one of our cards. They'll probably play it on Neckers because it will get good value on the Necker. Okay. We're now going to play this here. Which actually means we can eat that now. So by killing that, it means we can actually eat that with Osril. Which basically means they've pretty much given us the game. So that's our last play. So what we do now is we're going to put leader ability on this because they can't remove it with Peter. They're going to remove this with Peter anyway. We're going to put leader ability on this to make it 12. And it's going to get all the pops of our 5. And then we're going to play this. Okay. So we're going to go leader ability. We're going to pop it on here. And we're going to pop it down here. And go ping, 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 ping. All that. We're down by 4. We have a very big play at the end because we have 14 here. So we've got 14 points here, but we have all of our 5 to go off as well. So we just check that it is still here. This is the one we're taking, the T-Bore. We're going to play, so see, deploy melee, consume a unit from your opponent's graveyard. Play it on the melee row. And we're then going to eat this one here, and it will go pop, 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 pop. And we won by 4 points. So hopefully that gave you an idea of how the deck works, okay? The deck there probably looked very strong, probably looked very powerful. I will say now the deck isn't super powerful. The biggest issue Thrive has, when Homecoming 1.0 first launched, Tool Monsters is what this deck is kind of built around. Tool Monsters is what it was originally called, was so powerful. It was untouchable almost. People soon learned how to play against it, and the way you play against it is just remove Thrive. Just get rid of the Thrive. Any Thrive units, damage them, clear them off the board. All of a sudden, we'd lose that game because I think our last play, we were 14 points down. We played a 14-point card with Osril and eating their T-Bore, but then we only won because our 5 or 6 pops off of our Thrive ability. So Thrive can get very powerful. We got so many points in that game because of Thrive. But if Thrive gets removed, this deck isn't that strong. That's why having the cards like the Spears have been there. The 12 cost is really good because it just comes down. It's a big point card. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully, that will help you get your feet wet with monsters. Hopefully, it helps you out a little bit in kind of getting around with monsters. Woodland Spirit is probably my favourite monster leader. I don't think they're the strongest by a long way anymore, but they're definitely my favourite monster leader. And it's monsters are fun to play. Monsters are a great faction to play around in, and this deck will definitely help you get used to some of the mechanics in monsters, the dominance, the thrive. And once you get your head around it, start swapping cards out. Start going, well, I want to put this in. I want to see if I can get rid of the thrive engine and if I can put something else in. But hopefully, Nate especially, that kicks it off for you. Hopefully that gets you going, that gets you excited to play some monsters. And let me know if it helps you out. Let me know if you're going to try the deck, guys. And if you do try the deck, let me know if it does help you out on ranked game, or if it just helps you out in general. And if you're having fun with it, that's the most important thing. Forget about climbing rank and how grinding through the gears. Have fun with the game. That's why we play Gwent. That's why I play Gwent. Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for watching the video. And if you like these videos, give them a little like. If you want to keep updating more kind of Gwent content, the new to Gwent, so if you're a new player to Gwent, make sure you subscribe, guys, and tap that bell on, because I will be bringing a new to Gwent video at least once a week, sometimes twice a week if I've got the time to do so. Next video is going to be based on faction overview. So it's going to be a slightly longer video because it's going to be about 45 minutes, but it's going to be going through every faction, what each faction tries to do, what each faction, how to kind of, when you're playing against a faction, how to beat it, what you don't want that faction to do against you, but what you want to do as that faction when you're playing it. That's kind of what we're going to be going with the next video, and one after that is going to be based on deck building and provisions more specifically. But enough of that. Thank you so much again, guys, for stopping by. Have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you are, and until next time, just goodbye, guys. Thanks.